There's a side to this whole Asmongold situation that I don't think you saw. I don't think many people saw, because it was buried knee deep in a 3-hour conversation with Hassan. I actually watched the whole thing because this whole situation pissed me off. Now, this isn't a normal video for me. I stay out of politics, but this situation is kind of important, and I feel the need to speak up and give my insight on the matter as well. I'm gonna give you the two sides of Asmongold's outburst, but first let me show you the clip.
So no, I'm not going to cry a fucking river when people who have that's baked into their laws are getting genocidated. I don't give a fuck. They're terrible people. These people are not your allies. They are not the same as us. They come from an inferior culture that is horrible. It kills people for their identity, and it is directly antithetical to everything Western values stand for, and it is an inferior culture in all ways.
I'm not going to pretend to be political one bit. I hate politics. I never bring politics into my videos. I never talk about it. Even in personal life, I don't like politics. I don't deal with it. That ain't me. That's the other Turkish guy. If you want to talk politics, go to Hassan or Destiny or someone else. The other Turkish guy, he's a political guy. I'm not. And I'm not going to pretend like I'm as much of an activist for the situation in Gaza as some of these other people like Hassan is out there. I'm not. But what is going on in Palestine is no shortage of a genocide. It is disgusting, and the fact that it even exists in our current day and age is terrible. And that's about all the politics that I have the capacity for. So moving on, Asmongold is one of Twitch's biggest streamers.
What? I totally agree with you about that. And I think that the evidence that it's a superior and great culture is the fact that we can talk about those things openly without any fear of negative repercussions.
Well, it was one of the biggest streamers. I'm interrupting the video again because there's been some developments. There's been an update. Asmongold himself came out and made an explanation video, a whole 20-minute long video explaining what happened. I'm not planning on covering everything he said here on this video, but I am planning on making a follow-up video and possibly talking about it Friday on stream, because what he said and the way he said it and the way he handled things and the way he analyzed himself as a human being was just beautiful. Props to Asmongold, but he posted this video literally as I was uploading my own videos. So I need to make a couple quick and dirty amendments. It doesn't cancel out most of what I said in the video because I tried focusing more and analyzing more what he said and the things he said and how they could have been racist and hurtful to the opposite end of the table, rather than focusing on him, which I tried saying several times that I want to refrain from making this about Asmongold and stop saying you. For the whole video, I tried explaining how what he was saying was wrong and analyzing the stuff he was saying, while at the same trying to explain what he actually meant to say. The important thing that I want to get across is throughout the video, I sound frustrated, angry, and just offended, rightfully so. But all that, and the important part is that all that was from a perspective of before his explanation video came out. And more importantly, in fact, most importantly, the thing that I want to highlight the most is that I'm proud, actually, of the Muslim community that did this.
It's crazy. So I'm getting all these people making negative comments toward me. Everybody is telling me like, oh, go kill yourself, I hate you, everything like this. Do you know who reached out to me? And they wanted to talk and have a conversation and see if I was okay. It's people that were Islamic and people that were had family in Palestine. And
this, for some reason, made me extremely happy and made me look upon myself and say how can I learn from this? They're 10 times the man that I will ever be, and it just made me happy hearing that, and I want to share that. First and foremost, I'm going to keep this video as short as possible, but we got to get some formalities out of the way.
So basically the reason why I don't like what they do is because it's based off of a religious theocracy. When these books actively encourage killing people for different types of identities.
What the actual frick? I don't remember the last time I went up to an imam for a John Wick contract. So that's wrong. Let's get that out of the way. Second, for Asmongold, I'm actually going to cut in here real quick because I realized that if I let the next part of the video play without fully explaining the initial clip, it makes it seem like that initial clip was fully justified with what he's saying now, which is definitely not the case. I feel like I should briefly touch on it now. In the initial clip, he says that he doesn't care and he doesn't give a crap if people who are being genocided have genocide baked into their quote unquote, like huge massive air quotes here, Sharia law. He says that he doesn't care and he's not going to cry a river for those people. And as quick as I can put it, the fact that you're missing is that the people over there literally do not have a government and do not have a choice in how they are being governed. They don't have a choice in how they live their lives. They don't have a choice even to live a life from being bombarded day in and day out. What do the innocent children and women and kids who haven't even reached the age to play a GTA game, but yet their lobby is being griefed by some modder with an unlimited ammo glitch on that one flying bike? And as if that wasn't enough, he says that they are inferior and their culture is inferior. So yeah, back to the video. He's come out and in his own words, he said that he's not for Israel and he is not advocating for any kind of genocide.
Occupation.
Okay, real quick. You don't think that I support Israel, do you?
I don't, but I think
Okay,
that
good.
So we need to remember that when talking about him. Although his words might have rubbed off in a different way, which I'm going to get into, and that's why it... In fact, the first time that I watched it, I thought it was deep fake. I thought it was AI generated. I was like, oh my god, there's going to be a lot of drama behind this whole situation because they're faking Asmongold and making him say something that he didn't say. That's what I thought in the very beginning. But then, the next day, holy crap, he gets banned and it's actually true. I couldn't believe my eyes. The fact that someone that has a foundation of logic and reasoning and comprehension as much as he does, because as freaking as stupid as what he said, he is still exceptional at reasoning and breaking things down logically. Give him that. Now I'm gonna let him describe what he meant in his own words.
I understand that there's like a huge spectrum of people that are part of any culture. There's people that are way more progressive, people that are way less progressive. But what I see is that I see countries that have laws that haven't been bombed, right? You look at like Saudi Arabia or like Dubai. A lot of these other countries still have the same types of expressions or same type of restrictions on the expression for LGBT. And I find that to be problematic and inferior. And I think that you could I want to make sure that this is very clear because like, I don't want you to think that this is something that's like oh, the brown people over there are wrong. I would say the exact same thing for us, you know, like the church, you know, like Christianity. Like if you look at, for example, like Salem witch trials, it's disgusting. It's horrible.
So the keen-eyed of you or the keen-eared of you might be able to see what I'm talking about when I say that there's two sides to this whole situation that people didn't quite see. There's what he said and what we all understood, including me, versus what he meant to say. Now, I'm not going to defend him. What he said was wrong. It was totally uncalled for, and I think it was plain out racist. Hence the reason why I'm making this video in the first place. But I do feel like there was a disconnect in what he was trying to say and what he meant to say. And on that aspect, you do have to be understanding of the whole situation. When he's streaming, when he's live, it's not something where he can pre-record and write down or script out and plan accordingly so that everything and every word that he says comes out and is understood by his audience and other people watching in the exact way that he meant to get it across. Like I have the liberty of doing right now. So you do have to be understandful and mindful of that. Also, quick interruption here. I'm going to be streaming this Friday here on YouTube and Twitch. If you want to come check it out, chat a little bit. I'll probably be talking about this a little bit, so come stop by.
If they stopped getting bombed, they would just start being accepting of these other people with these different identities.
You don't know because we've never experienced that.
Because there's other countries that are part of that same region that have the same laws, like Saudi Arabia or Qatar.
They're not the same people. You do understand that, right? Like even culturally speaking,
they're coming from the same culture and they're coming from the same religion.
What, bro? Hold on, I'm editing this right now. Is this a common thing, dude? Like, do people not realize that, like, all Middle Easterners are not the same people? What the frick? Like, me and, like, Saudi Arabian people, dude, we're not the same. Like, bro, what? Is this a common thing? Just a newsflash for anybody who thinks that Middle Easterners are not all alike. Just FYI. Regardless, the way it was said and the word choice and just everything, the body language seems to me to say that it's a feeling inside that he's been harboring. That's what it seems to me. Whether or not he realizes that the impact and the word choice that he chose is very similar to a anti-Semitic way of thinking, which let's get into. What he's trying to say, let's take two cities, for example. Let's take San Francisco and some rural part of Texas. Let's say just for the sake of things, let's say Dallas, Texas. Compare these two cities side by side and their governance. Whichever one lets you be you and doesn't get involved in how you choose to live your life as long as it's not hurting anybody or doing anything illegal, that city is the better city. The problem is that you're adding in an inferiority targeted at a specific culture.
Like, I see what you're saying, and I think that you definitely do have an argument with it. Do you
understand why like cultural inferiority arguments end up like leading you astray in this subject matter?
Which, when you say culture, let's be honest, you mean race or ethnic group. This in essence dehumanizes people, which is actually your words, not mine. I tend to avoid doing the, oh, you said this, you said that thing. But when it comes to something that you even yourself realize that, hey, it might be a semantics issue, I'm gonna add that and include that in there because you agree.
I think that it works. If this is a semantics issue, and if like me saying inferior, if you think that that's dehumanizing or problematic, then I don't necessarily completely agree, but I can see where you're coming from.
Well,
I would say worse, or you could replace that with any other word that is just like not as good as.
So I'm not trying to be a nutcase and pull out the, hey, you said this, haha, got you type thing. All that is besides the point, because the main point is the fact that there is a complete genocide going on over there, and that the people that you are referring to, I'm gonna refrain from saying you anymore. I don't want to make this a, hey, you Asmongold type thing, but the people that is being referred to here, a culture is being put beneath someone else, are helpless people who are being bombed and don't even know if they're gonna wake up in the morning alive. The tents are being burned. Like, I can't look at it too much. I can't read stuff like this that much. But there's stuff that Hassan says, like tents, hospital tents being burned. Dude, these, like, you gotta understand, it's people on the other end over there, right? The people that is being put beneath someone else is inferior. Right? It's not a comparison that could be made. I don't know how that comparison can be made, and Hassan sums it up pretty good in his thing. I suggest you watch the whole conversation.
A lot of people don't like the way that their government operates. There are gay Muslims, there are queer Muslims, there are queer trans people. They have unfortunately not had any breathing room to be able to advocate for civil rights in many parts of this region, because they have been consistently pushed back against, and also don't have any fucking time or space to be able to do such a thing when they're under direct occupation. That's the issue.
But would you come to the same conclusion that basing decisions off of that religion and making laws based off of that religion is a bad thing?
Yeah, of course. I don't. What do you mean?
Okay.
I don't agree in theocracy at all.
Awesome. But wouldn't that mean that it would be inferior?
No, it doesn't mean that it's inferior, and that wasn't your point in the initial take. The initial clip that you were talking about their culture, the people being inferior, and now kind of I hate to say the word backtracking because it sounds rude. I understand this is a live stream, but now saying a more, I don't even know what the words are, more secular democracy is better than church and state that's put together, right? Where religion impacts the laws that are made, kind of like what Turkey has. Yes, okay, yes, I think any educated, a separated church and state is better. It's not inferior, and that wasn't your point in the initial clip anyways. You pointed out culture and people were inferior. That was what was made, as I just covered.
Governments to be able to get to that point in terms of civil liberties for queer people. They've never had that opportunity, so I see it in the same exact way. Like, I ride for Easy Company, and I think that I am not going to sit here and criticize people resisting against the Israeli apartheid for that same exact reason, because it's a far greater evil than anything that people could potentially do. Genocide is the thing. It's the worst possible thing you can do to an entire population.
But they would be doing the genocide to people based off of their identity.
Dude, oh my god. Oh. I'm skipping a lot of this clip because there's a lot of context from what he said right now. If you want to go watch it, go check out the full video on Hassan's channel. But like, this part alone had me. Okay, listen, you can't judge a culture or a group of people or a race or an ethnicity based off of what they might do. Okay, this is literally called racism. Imagine, like, I know this is really hard to imagine in our current world, right? This is such a weird scenario to imagine, but like, imagine that we profile a group of people, or we judge a group of people based off of a particular lifestyle that happens in a particular zip code. Like, imagine that. I know it's really hard to do, but like, imagine that in your head for once in a second, and what we might call it. Or like, here's an example that's more akin to what you're saying. Think of a prison inmate. Okay, if we thought to ourselves, we said like, hey, this guy, we shouldn't let him free because he's probably gonna go do a drive-by in our neighborhood or something like that. Like, we should just keep him in there. You see what I'm saying? This is literally called racism, all right? In any one of these scenarios, if you take that logic and apply it elsewhere, dude, it is literally racism. This is where, like, when I'm watching back these clips or the video, this is where I understood why Asmongold's initial clip and take, I guess you can call it take, why that pissed me off in the very first place, and why it pissed off a lot of people, because like, we can take it, it pisses us off, it pisses me off, but because not a lot of us can put words into why it pisses us off other than saying that, hey, it's racist. It's because the whole clip is based off of what the Palestinians might do if they were liberated.